Okay, so do you guys want me to just kind of go through this whole thing, or just some few ones that you have questions on?
All of them.
The whole deal? Okay, so number one, luckily we're talking about graphing linear equations. It says write the equation for a line with the y-intercept equal to 0, -5, and a slope equal to 2/3. So we're in the old y equals mx plus b mode. M is what? Slope. And b is the y-intercept. So all you need to understand is that if you have a y-intercept 0, -5, that means it's going to have a -5 on the end. And if your slope is 2/3, that means it's going to have a 2/3 in front of the x. And so that is answer choice B. Okay? All right, number 2, write the equation for a line with a slope of 2 that goes through the point 1, 1. This is a different form of, a linear equation that we also went through before. In this form right here, m shows up again, just like in the other one. But this one, instead of using the y-intercept, it uses the coordinates of a point. And that's what x1 and y1 are. And so since the point is 1, 1, the equation that they're looking for is y minus 1 equals the slope, which is 2 times x minus 1. Okay? So this is the point slope form of the equation, and that would be answer choice A. Okay? So yeah, if you put B instead, you were close, but it's y minus the y coordinate equals the slope times x minus the x coordinate. So those things are going to switch their sign. Yeah. Because if I go y minus 1, then I have y minus 1. So I'm subtracting a positive number. So
I got that one wrong.
okay. Well, I'm not falling into this trap again with you.
But they're positive, aren't they?
Right, so if you subtract a positive, it's y minus 1. Okay, number 3. Now we have to do it all the way on our own from the very beginning. So we haven't done these for a little while, but there's my 2 points, and you need to come up with the equation of the line that goes through those 2 points. So what do you have to do first? Plug it into what?
Oh, good.
Yeah, do the subtraction thingy, because remember the way you find the slope is you go y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, okay? So to do this, what's the y coordinate of the second point? Nope. Okay, 5 minus -2. So right, so like Brianna was talking about on the last one, if I subtract the negative this time, it's going to flip around to be positive. The x coordinate of the second point is -3 minus the x coordinate of the first one is 6. And so what Francis was pointing out is it doesn't matter if we call this our first point and this our second one, or the other way around, as long as you stay consistent the whole time. So 5 minus -2 is 7, good. And -3 minus 6 is -9. So the slope of that is -7/9. Okay? So which one of the answer choices has a slope of -7/9? A and D. Okay? And so which one is it? Yes, it's D. Why? Because you have to go for your final answer y minus the y coordinate. So I'm going to go y minus 5, not y minus 3. Equals the slope times x minus the x coordinate. So the x's go together and the y's go together.
Are we allowed to use notes on that big test? No.
But you should be taking notes to study them before you take that big test. Yeah.
Is this test all multiple choice?
Nope. It's kind of like this. There's some multiple choice. There's some where you have to fill in the blank. And there's some where you're going to have to like draw a complete graph and stuff like that. I don't think you are, Nate. I think you'll be fine. number 4, same thing. Find the equation for the line passing through these 2 points. So what do we have to do first? You have to find the slope. So I'm going to go y2, which is negative 23, minus y1, which is 2, over x2 minus x1. Same thing as before. Start out. Good. Negative 25 over 5, which is negative 5. All right. So my slope is negative 5. So which one's the answer? C. Because y equals negative 5x minus 3. We don't even have to figure out that other stuff because that's the only one that slope matches up. Okay? You know. You can use teachers.
Yeah, like, I don't, like, when you're not here, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, good thing I'm going to be here when you take the test. So
Yeah, but you
know
can't help
you're-
us.
Help us?
I can help you mentally, like telepathy-wise.
That doesn't work.
You're just going to have to, like, when you're taking the test, we'll come up with a signal, like you hold up 2 fingers or something like that, and I'll send you brainwaves that tell you
How will you know that, how will you know the
the
question?
same way that I know what you're
How would
thinking
they
about.
ever know if you helped us?
How would they ever know?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, there's a lot of different ways that they can figure that out. One way that they would know is they might go, wow, in this teacher's class, all the kids passed, and they are the only algebra class in the state where every single kid passed. So maybe something weird happened there. Or they might notice that there's sort of like a pattern to the way you answered your questions, or a pattern to ones that you got wrong. Like I might think, okay, I'm going to be tricky, I'm not going to help you on the whole thing, but I'll just give you a couple answers. And so they'll go, everybody in this class got number 7 right and number 12. You know what I mean? They actually do that. When funny things happen, then they look for that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well,
So
okay,
if
but we
they
each,
see that there are usually high scores from any particular class or school, then they start to dig a little bit deeper and see what's going on.
but if we don't all need help on different questions, then how would they ever know? Like it's
Again,
not.
because they'd look and your scores would be unusually high. And so then they would start to, they'd figure it out.
No, they wouldn't.
They would figure it out. You
No.
can't fight the mains. In fact, there was a school in Alabama or something like that where a bunch of teachers got caught. There's some whole big scandal that the whole school was cheating or something like that. And they said they're being pressured by the, I can't remember, some whole big thing. They figured it out.
I don't think they would.
Rachel, cheaters never win.
Yes, they do.
Except for the bad guys. Winners always cheat, right?
Cheaters never win. All right, number 5, same deal. So what minus what? 4 minus 7 over 7 minus 3. So 4 minus 7 is negative 3. 7 minus 3 is 4. So our slope is negative 3/4. Okay? Hey, shh. So normally we look at this and go, hey, multiple choice, no big deal, but there's 2 different questions that have the same answer. So now we have to also figure out what the y-intercept is. Does anybody remember how we did that? Okay, you start with y equals mx plus b. What do you want to plug in for y? 4. So Nolan is going to go with this point right here for some reason. What do we plug in for m? What is m? Right there, we figured out that it was negative 3/4. What do we plug in for x? 7, because he chose that point, so we have to stay with it, plus b. So 4 equals negative 21 over 4 plus b. How do I solve that for b? Where did I get the what? Yeah, this is like 7 over 1, right? Okay. What did you say, Nolan? Divide? No, I'm trying to take this equation and solve it for b. Okay?
So you
There you go. There's no multiplying here, it's
You
a
would
plus.
Oh, my bad.
Right, I minus this negative 21/4, and minusing a negative is the same as adding. Good, so I would add 21/4 to both sides. So those cancel out, and b equals, what's my common denominator going to be? 4. So I'm going to change this to 16 over 4. So 16/4 plus 21/4 is 37/4, and so now which one is my answer, A or D? A, because that has a y-intercept of 37/4. All right, number 6. Number 6, now I'm going to take this and change it around into y equals mx plus b form. So I need to solve this for y. It only takes 2 steps. What's the first step? So that's if I want to graph it. That's if I wanted to find the x and the y-intercept. What's that? I need to, no, because I'm trying to solve it for y. Minus 3x. The whole thing. Okay, hold on. Don't give me an end yet, because I still have to finish this step. What is 5 minus 3x?
5 minus 3x.
5 minus 3x, or usually we write the x first, so it would be negative 3x plus 5. Now I divide by 2. Yep, every single thing. So y equals negative 3x over 2 plus 5 halves. Which choice is that?
That would be choice numbers, letters.
C.
No way, I got it right.
And C is for cookie.
Can we slow down a little bit? I'm doing Stacy's too.
Yeah, tell me when you're ready. You ready?
Yeah, I guess.
You guess?
I was gonna write.
Number 7, they just want you, again, same thing, to solve for y. That's what slope-intercept form means. So what are the couple of steps you would take to solve this for y? Okay, first I'm going to distribute the negative 4. You could subtract the 3 first, but we'll just do it this way. Either one's fine. So negative 4 times x is negative 4x. And negative 4 times negative 7 is positive 28. Okay? And then now, like Jolene said, what do we do with the 3? Subtract 3 from both sides. Where do I subtract the 3 from? 28. I think you're smarter when you're on pain medication. You're nailing these today.
I know, I was just telling him.
I know she is. Maybe you overthink it too much otherwise. Okay, so which answer is that? A. Okay, and then number 8. We're going to do the same thing, but now we're writing it in standard form. And standard form, I don't know if you recall, but standard form is where the x and the y are both on the same side together. All right? So the first thing I'm going to do is the same thing Nolan told us to do last time, distribute the 2/3. So 2/3 times x is 2/3 x. What's 2/3 times 6?
I don't like 2/3.
What's 2/3 of 6? 4. Because if I write that as 6 over 1, 2 times 6 is 12, 3 times 1 is 3, and 12 divided by 3 is 4, okay? So now I need to get the numbers over to the right, just like we did before, so what do? I add 1. So those cancel, so y equals 2/3 x minus 3, which is slope-intercept form, but again, like I said, standard form, the x and the y are together, okay? So how can I get the x over to the other side? Minus 2/3 x on both sides. So those cancel, so you'd have negative 2/3 x plus y equals negative 3. Right, but that's not one of the answers, and so what do I do to get rid of that fraction? How do I get rid of this 3?
don't you do that one where you
Multiply by what?
Reciprocal.
Well, that would get rid of the 2 also, and I just want to get rid of the 3, so I'm just going to multiply everybody by 3. So here, this 3 and this 3 cancel and leave you negative 2x. 3 times y is 3y, and 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. So which choice is that? Which choice is that?
Me. There
No.
is no negative.
There isn't. And so again, this is even worse.
That's multiply by negative.
Yeah, technically in standard form, you can't start with a negative. So I have to change the negative 2x to positive 2x. I have to change the positive 3y to negative 3y, and the negative 9 to positive 9. And now, finally, it's D. Okay? So we don't spend a lot of time with standard form, and that's why it's a lot of work. Hi. Okay, it'll just be online. Okay, then don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at number 9. So what are the 2 things you can tell me about the equation y equals 7x minus 3? 2 things. Don't all answer at once now.
Wait,
2 things you can tell me about the graph of y equals 7x minus 3. What are the 2 things that equation tells me? Slope of 7
Y-intercept negative 3.
and y-intercept is negative 3. Okay, so how would you describe this? A gradual increasing line that passes through the point 0, 7? Would you say a slope of 7 is gradual?
No.
No, so that one's out. A steep decreasing line that passes through the point 0, 3 is the slope of 7 decreasing? No, so that's out. C, a gradual decreasing line that passes through the point 0, negative 3? No, it's D, a steep increasing line, because it's a relatively steep slope that passes through the point 0, negative 3, because that's that.
Wait, what?
So it's D.
D?
Yep. Steep slope, y-intercept is negative 3. All right, same thing if we look at number 10. So we have y minus 7 equals 1/2 times x minus, times x minus 2. What are the 2 things you can tell me about this graph? What's the slope? 1/2. Okay. What is a point that this graph goes through?
Negative 7 and negative 2.
2 things that are wrong with that. First of all, the negative 2 is with the x, right? So
Yes.
that's the x coordinate.
Oh, negative.
Second of all, it's not going to be negative 2 because like Brianna was saying, if you go x minus 2, then the number has to be a positive 2. If you go y minus 7, then your original number had to be 7. Okay? So it goes through the point 2, 7, so it's either B, C, or D. Is it gradually decreasing, gradually increasing, or steeply increasing? Steeply increasing?
No. Gradually.
Gradually increasing. 1/2 is not very steep. So the answer is C.
Can you please explain the definition gradually increases?
No.
It doesn't go fast.
Gradually means it's not me. It means.
Not 7.
All right, so now we've got a little picture here. We have a graph. And we have 2 people, Katerina and Laura. Okay? And it says Kathy and Laura, must be your nickname, need to travel to a soccer team meeting located on the far side of town. Laura leaves from her house and Katerina leaves from school. And so that's why she's right here, because she's starting at school. Okay? Laura leaves from her house, so she's a little bit a ways away from school right at the beginning. The graph below shows the relationship between time and distance from their school. So the question is, what can be said about the intersection of the graphs of Laura and Katerina? Are they both still at school when they cross?
No.
No, obviously they're a distance away from school. Laura and Katerina are the same distance away from school
At the point?
at the point where they cross?
No.
Why not?
Because they didn't start it.
It doesn't matter where they cross. This
Oh, well, yeah, I
distance right
guess.
there, that measures how far they are from school.
Yes.
So at point where they cross, the answer is B. They're the same distance away from school.
Ask. They're the same distance away from one water.
Right, they start at different places, but Katerina's going faster, like Graham said, so they end up at this point being the same distance away from school.
Laura ever even go to
Okay. Huh?
Did Laura ever even be there?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, huh?
Not really.
She just stopped. Maybe Katerina and Nitro on her way by. And she was able to stumble a little bit farther, and then she just fell down. I don't know, it could happen.
That was very mean.
Watch, they're all gonna think you're like some psycho crazy.
Well, I know Kathy, and she's a little crazy. All right, number 2. What can be said about the relationship between the rate at which Laura travels and the rate at which Katerina travels? So we talked about this already. Graham said, since Katerina's line is steeper, she's going faster, right? Okay?
So it's D.
So it would be
D.
D. Katerina is traveling at a faster rate than Laura. So the answer to number 2 is
D.
all right, number 3, a 1,200-gallon tank contains 300 gallons of water. Water begins to run into the tank at a rate of 25 gallons per hour. Write a linear function for the situation above. So, how much is in there right now? 300. So we're going to start at 300. Is water being added to the tank or subtracted from the tank? Water begins to run into the tank. It's being added. Okay. How much is going in each hour? 25. So after every hour there will be another 25 gallons. So it's going to be the 300 you started with plus 25 more gallons an hour, which is G. Okay?
G. This is an answer choice.
I'm sorry, D. Sorry. I was thinking G like gallon. Okay, number 4. When will the tank be full? Well, if you're starting out with 300 gallons in there, and it is a 1,200 gallon tank, how many more gallons do you have to get in there? 900 gallons. You've got 900 gallons left to go. If it takes 25 gallons per hour, how many, how do I figure out?
Divided by.
All right, I go 900 divided by 25, and that gives me 36. So it's going to take a total of 36 hours to fill. Which is C. Okay, number 5. Jackie has a savings account with $156.50. She's going to put in another 45 bucks a week. She has an equation that represents that. It's the 156.50 she started with plus 45 a week. Which graph best fits her equation? Or C, why? It's not starting at 0, so A is out. And it's going up, so B and D are out. So that must be C. Okay? All right, and then the last one for the day. Given that the figure above is a square, find the slope of the perpendicular sides AB and BC. Okay? So if you start at A and count up to B, how far up do you have to go?
8.
8. So your rise is 8. How far over do you have to go to get from A to B?
5.
5?
Yeah.
So your slope of AB is up 8 over 5. Then your slope for BC How far down do you have to go to get from B to C? Nope. 5. So down 5 is -5. How far to the right do you have to go?
8.
8. And what is the relationship between those two things? The slopes of perpendicular lines are
Reciprocal.
negative reciprocals. Okay, they're opposite reciprocals of each other. So that is answer choice A. Okay, so that's all from that packet. That's good enough. Once you make sure your names are on there, pass them forward. And tomorrow we'll go through the other one that starts out with the graph.